Okay, yeah. Hare Krishna, my humble obeisances. So happy to see you all this week. This was a session which was actually to be conducted by Yudhishthir Prabhu from our communications ministry, but he's been busy. So I'm just filling in for him. And what I'm doing today is actually what I was going to do on day 4, the last day, where we were going to talk actually about listening skills, effective listening skills in communication. And one of our other key audiences, which is the social media. So we covered quite a few of our key audiences last week, and then he was going to cover the media, the government, and the other social, different audiences. Primary key audiences relevant to communication devotees, leaders. And the last leg was where we are going to actually talk about listening skills and social media. So that is what we will be doing today, because I don't want to take up what he has been scheduled to do. So we break this up into 2 sessions. We'll start with listening first. When we do this in the residential, as in we have done, I think I've done this. This part of listening skills is actually a very interactive session where we actually have a little drama, a skit in the beginning, and we actually have a lot of very interesting and enlivening sessions where we practically actually have devotees understand that how good listening skills are effective, and what could be not so very good listening skills, through different skits in place. But since here we are in short of time, and we are in a platform here in Zoom. So I'm just going to go through the presentation. Unfortunately, we won't be having that kind of interaction as in we do with drama, skits, and I like to present this concept of listening through that platform, because it's very interesting and it's a very important one. So we'll start with the listening, which will be followed up by the social media. So I'll just share my screen. So that's where we are. And so can everybody see the screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. So this is listening for leaders, and so much depends in relation to our service, and this is such an underestimated aspect of a good leader. So we are just going to go through some of very preliminary guidelines which we can keep in mind as leaders when we are interacting with our different audiences. Largely, leaders would be using these skills with devotees in the temple. When you are dealing with your respective head of the departments, you could be dealing with temple presidents, you could be dealing with project leaders, congregation members, congregation in charge, or even just bhaktas and brahmacharis in the temple, and which eventually definitely extends to the external audiences. But I think over the time, we've seen that the devotees who are in the temple do require this quality far more, and the leaders also require it far more than any other audiences. And so we're going to a little bit talk about this, that what is the importance of hearing in our tradition. And we see that this aspect of hearing has been so primary and so basic as part of our Vaishnava tradition, that Krishna himself exhibits that he was ready to accept a teacher, and though he was the one who knew everything, the knower of all, and the one who's omnipotent and the supreme truth, he himself, the knower of all knowledge, was ready to accept a teacher and hear and listen from him. So this is our biggest example from the Lord himself. And of course, we see several such examples in the Bhagavatam, where there are all these different exchanges and interactions from the Chaitanya Charitamrita with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramanand Rai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And of course, the Bhagavatam is full of stories which are about listening, hearing. and the art of communication, and that is what is primary to us is Shravanam. That good listening is actually part of a Vaishnav tradition. And that is why it's more the need to emphasize that, you know, the non-devotees do this, but we as devotees have even more responsibility to be sensitive to this aspect of listening. And we're just going to a little bit unpack now as to, you know, what is listening. But before we come to the aspect of what are the highlights of good listening and how you should listen, I just want to draw attention to what is poor listening. What is it that we should actually avoid in course of our this is ignoring. So this is one kind of thing that, you know, one makes no effort to listen, and you can largely see parents saying this about their kids. Okay, "Arey mera sunta hi nahi hai." So the kids are actually there. They are physically present, but they just completely ignore. So that's ignoring. Or you can have a devotee or brahmachari who does not want to follow something and they're completely ignoring what you're talking. The next is pretend listening. So you just are making believe, or it appears that you're listening, but you actually are not. So that's you're pretending. So if you have a temple commander telling you to do something, or if you have had a difficult day and you just don't have the bandwidth to listen, but somebody's talking, you're just sitting there trying to say, yes, 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 Prabhu. You appear to listen, but it's really not registering. So that's pretend listening. And then we have selective listening. So this is by far the most popular, selective listening. You are hearing only parts of the conversation which interest you. And that's what you reflect on, that's what you respond to, and this is what you act upon. And that's largely what we do in our daily life, consciously or unconsciously, is selective listening. And the last is autobiographical listening. This is something where you are constantly comparing yourself. So somebody could be talking about something, they could be talking about a problem, something nice that they did, and in your mind you're just having a narrative going on about, you know, how I did it. I was in the same situation. So you are actually not listening to what this devotee is saying, but you are just doing an autobiographical listening, as in you parallelly relating everything that he's trying to say to your experiences. So these four are the primary poor listening skills. And we want to elevate from this as a leader, so that, you know, we can offer our services of, you know, just being present for devotees or any of the audiences that we are connecting to. And what we are going to talk now is the two main principles. And we have actually kept it just to two, so that it's easy to focus, and it's something that you can work upon. And the first being that understanding comes through listening. So this is very simple, that if somebody comes with you with any concern, you will only be able to deal with the Vaishnava. You listen to them, listen to, as in not just with your ears. When we talk of listening, it's getting into one ear and out on the other, but it actually comes inside you. When you listen, your heart opens up to the information that you are receiving from a respected person. And you can understand them much better when you are actually listening through them. And we see that all the time, that you know, in our movement, that because I just mentioned that Shravanam is the basis, and a lot of what we connect within ourselves as internal audience, we understand ourselves better through listening, and others understand us better also through listening. So we have Srila Prabhupada, where he's actually talking to some guest and they are listening to him. And Srila Prabhupada was also always available to listen to his disciples whenever they had any concerns. So this is primary, that, you know, understanding. If you want that you can understand, you start with listening. And the second principle is that diagnosis must precede prescription. So before you actually start telling this devotee, Prabhu, you are in Maya, why is it that you're not coming to the morning program? This is not good, you're not setting a good example. Or you just even with the external audiences, as in you can be talking with somebody from the media or from the scholar, but if you do not understand the issue, the concern through listening, and you don't diagnose what is the problem, you are not being able to give a solution. And a lot of times we understand that the solution to the problem is actually just listening. Sometimes all what somebody wants, and sometimes all what a devotee wants, or all what anybody wants, is just probably a platform to just vent it out, to just talk. And when they talk to you is when they are actually talking to themselves, and there's a certain process going on in their mind where they are just processing the whole situation, and they just feel so much better. And such a sense of relief after they actually come and speak. So these are the primary principles of good listening as a leader, that, one is you understand, and you can do that when you listen, and, you must diagnose the problem, as in you need to listen and break it up before you can start, giving them solutions. So these are the two basic principles of good listening. And we will just now talk about the simple tools, which is called SOLE, S-O-L-E. That's the acronym which you can use actually to remember, to improve your listening. And so here we have a diagram, and you can see that there are a lot of images here. And through these images, the person, through his body, he is actually expressing something. So we will just come to that. One of the ways you can improve your listening is through your sitting posture. Now, this sounds very simple, but if you sit inappropriately, you're looking here and there, your face is down on your mobile phone, you're looking out of the window, you're slouching, this sends a signal that you are not there for the person, as in you are just not respecting the presence of the person. That's the sitting posture, to have an open body language. So we can see this in the image here, that you can see a picture. The second last photograph is where the person actually has his hand folded like this, where you can see that, which means it's a closed body language. And when somebody is talking, and when you are actually, it's a very unconscious move. Sometimes you can notice that people don't even realize, but when they are closed to not wanting to listen, when they don't want to listen, and when they can't accept what they're listening, you naturally just withdraw, you close. There are a lot of different images that you see, that you can have your hands behind, which shows a very indifferent attitude, that I don't care much about you talking. Yeah, I can just go on, and I'm just here for you there. Or you can have somebody with hands behind, which shows indifference, with hands in front shows attention. That somebody just standing there listening to you without moving their hands, distracting. You can see in the image somebody's trying to put their hands in their mouth, and that's a distraction. So there are the open body language sends out as much as 55% of a good listening signal to whoever you are talking to, as to what you are trying to explain through that language, the body language. So that's an important one. Listening attentively, that's simple. You don't want to be distracted, especially in today's age of mobile phones. And it's so easy to lose your audience if you are not, if you do not proactively show them that you are listening to them attentively. And lastly, try to make eye contact. So all this four actually go together, that you need to have a very appropriate sitting position. Your body language needs to be comfortable and open, as in your hands can just be on the side. And if you're sitting, they can just be in your lap. You could be sitting in an upright position, maybe a little bit forward, as in trying to show to the person that, yes, I am here for you, listening. Listen attentively, and it's not like you're doing all that, but you're on your phone, and of course try to make an eye contact. So when you make an eye contact, it actually binds and connects you with your listener, and that's when the understanding of and the sharing of the message is much more deeper and relevant than if you are doing all the other three, but then you're looking elsewhere and say, yeah, Prabhu, I think I'm looking, I understand what you're trying to say, but I'm just, I think you made a good point, and yeah, but that's not, you want to pay attention to what they're trying to say. So that's like having a good eye contact. So these are simple tools, and that's why we have it SOLE, if you want to remember it for its short form, that is soul. And now we will little bit talk about empathic listening, which is the real listening that we want to do, especially as leaders. If we want to, solve a lot of our problems even before they begin or they get huge, this is the space where you want to be with, and a good leader will do this from the very beginning of his relationship with anyone, and try to be emphatic is coming from the word to have empathy towards someone, which means that you can actually place yourself in the other person's shoes, and you can actually know where they are coming from, understand, and actually being listening to them one-on-one. And we're going to talk about what this does. When you do empathic listening, what happens is that you are giving others psychological air, which means you are helping the other person to explore. You're giving them the space to explore their feelings, to express their emotions, and they can feel that, yes, my leader, my temple president, my vice president, my project leader, my head of the department actually understands me without, feeling judged. And this is so important. So you could be doing something really important, but when you feel that somebody is trying to come and talk to you, you take a pause and you listen to that person and you allow them to speak and share what they want to. And if that forum is not appropriate, if it's something like a group, you're having a discussion, there's a class going on, but if you feel somebody wants to do that, you can always tell them, Prabhu, I can meet you later on and we'll talk about this later on, and then give them a one-to-one. So usually, as I said, the example you see, for example, you are feeling that. So that's the expression that you refer to that respective devotee, that Prabhu, I understand that you are feeling so upset today. I understand that you actually, I know you're feeling that you wanted to actually attend the morning program, but you had a late night because you went for a kirtan, and you could not attend the Mangla Aarti today morning. I know that you're feeling so bad that your family members are missing you, but you really want to spend time in the temple. So that's giving the person a space to know that you are understanding what they are feeling, you're feeling what they're feeling, and you are doing all that without being judgmental. So that's the first part, where we have what we call giving others a psychological air. And the next part of a good empathic listening is to reflect back the feelings and the content of what the person said. When you do this, what you're actually doing is that you are reassuring the person that, I have understood what you're feeling, and I know what you were trying to tell me. And the example here is that if I understand you correctly, you are actually feeling very nervous that you are going to give your first Bhagavatam class. So that's how you're going to try to reflect back. If somebody comes and tells you just in the morning that, Prabhu, I'm feeling very scared and I feel like running away, and I don't think I want to even come down from the ashram now. I feel like, what happened? He said, I have to give my Bhagavatam class, and I don't know what will happen. What if they ask me difficult questions? And so you say, okay, if I have understood you correctly, you're feeling nervous that you have to give this Bhagavatam class. And so you're reflecting the feelings back. The other sentence which you could use is, so as you see it, and that can be, so as you see it, or as I see it, you are feeling really very anxious that you have to go and give this Bhagavatam class, and whatever. Or you can say, saying what I'm hearing from others is that you just don't want to leave the ashram today, and you just want to be here because you have to give the Bhagavatam class. But I think you should not be nervous and whatever. So when you reflect, it brings a sense of respect to the person, and it also brings a sense of reassurance that I'm understood. And when that happens, it because of the sense of relief, a lot of times we see that that's all what a person is looking for. A lot of times people don't come to talk to somebody to solve their problems, but just to air their problems, just to have somebody understand, to reflect back that feeling, and to just reassure them that it's okay to feel what I'm feeling without being judgmental. So this is the space and the area of reflective listening. And also some of the other things which a person feels when you emphatically listen to them, as in you reassure them that you understand and feel the way they are feeling, is it helps the person to feel understood. It's actually a practice in mode of goodness, because you have to be thoughtful, you have to be sensitive, you have to be careful, and you have to allow the person to completely open up and share what they are feeling and not interrupt them. And then you reflect it back. That's not being in the mode of passion where you're just trying to give them advice and judge them, but it's actually a practice in mode of goodness, where you are actually just being calm and trying to just reassure them that you understand. It's showing a desire to hear. So this is the area where you can be a good leader. You could be somebody that people would want to come to, to actually share their problems, to reflect their hearts out and their minds out. And when you do this, you actually show a desire that, yes, you want to connect and you care. So the big message is that I do care for you. Don't jump to premature conclusions or suggestions. We do a lot of this in ISKCON, unfortunately, where people, starting from the moment somebody could come, from the outfit they wear, to what they do, to what they say. Sometimes we have no idea what the person is going through, what is the background information in relation to what's happening. And we just start, jumping to conclusions and start giving suggestions. And a lot of times, devotees, especially devotees who have been around for a long time, they are aware of what needs to be done, but they just want to talk. So we don't want to jump to premature, solutions or give them any suggestions. And when you speak emphatically, what we even address below is that you build trust. So this is the crux of a good relationship. And every good leader would want this, that, you have the trust of your community, you have the trust of the people who serve under you, the heads of the department, the zone, it could be the temple president. So when you just are there for them, and when you exhibit all these qualities of, just reflecting and being there, is what you're doing, is you're building that trust, and in a lot of cases you're also building a lifelong friendship and a connection with a respective devotee, or it could also be somebody from the external audiences. So this is the responses which we saw, which were empathic listening, that what all is empathic. We're a little bit going to explore now what is not empathic listening and what we should not be doing. And we need to be careful about this, is advising. We don't want to advise people, without understanding. If somebody asks, Prabhu, I want to know, can you please tell me what I should be doing? That's different. If you're authority and you need to tell them, that's different. But if somebody is just coming there and just talking to you and just sharing, and you interrupt and you start advising them, that's really not empathic listening. Probing. So then you ask, what was your relationship here with mother life? That's an example, but it could be probing. So it's, it makes the other person feel that you're taking an opportunity of a vulnerable situation they may be in by probing and trying to get more information about their situation. So that's one thing we want to avoid. One is interpreting that, you don't even know what's the two sides of the story. This Prabhu is telling you something you've not even heard from the other party. You just interpret something, and you just make a judgment on it and just say, oh Prabhu, you're committing offenses, or you just don't know how to give the class, and how is it that you will do it, and you're going to get really some tough questions, and you better be worried about this. And that's really not what you want to do. And evaluation. So you take it upon yourself to evaluate and judge the person. And the person is here now to just open their hearts. And you have done so much of what you should not be doing, is advising, probing, interpreting, and evaluation. So these are some things we want to keep in mind when we are actually emphatically trying to listen, and we should emphatically listen. We should make that attempt in our connection with our respective audiences. Another extension of listening is, you must have heard this part, which is the open-ended questions. And we are very aware of that there are open-ended questions and there are closed-ended questions, especially devotees who have done mediation courses or ombudsman. This is an area which is largely focused on also open-ended questions. And in the last leg of our part of listening, we will understand what is an open-ended question. And open-ended question is something which do not invite a yes or a no answer. They open the conversation to new information, feelings, and thoughts. So you want to actually ask the person a lot of different kind of questions which relate in relation to who is it that is making you feel nervous about this class? What are you feeling? Are you feeling nervous? Are you feeling unprepared? When was the last time that you actually gave a Bhagavatam? Have you never given a Bhagavatam? Is that why you're feeling what you're feeling? How did you feel, yesterday night? Why are you feeling confident? Is it just today that you're feeling so nervous in the morning? So when you do this, you open up a conversation. So the devotee would say, no, yesterday I think I was feeling confident because I had read well, but now today when I'm going towards the temple and I saw my name on the board, I'm just feeling very worried and anxious, or I'm feeling this, my thoughts are like this. So what you're doing is you are actually opening up the conversation, and you're helping that devotee, or you're helping that respective audience to actually give you more new information, to share their feelings and to share their thoughts. And this is one of the best ways to have a good conversation, is to have open-ended questions. If you have to just listening, you just want to do emphatic listening, but if you are really into a serious conversation, especially from the position of leadership, this is a good way to go, and that's to ask these open-ended questions, because the devotee sometimes can be so overwhelmed with feelings and emotions that they may not be able to process. But when you ask the right open-ended questions, you actually open up the conversation for the right kind of information that you need to actually just be there for them, just to help them to process the information. Or if you have to solve the information, then also open-ended questions actually are a big help. So that's the one kind of question. And then the other question, so here we have an example that, how did you feel when Vishnu Das screamed at you? So now when you ask somebody that question, it's going to, he's just going to open burst now, I just feel so angry. What does he think? I've never done this to him. And why can he shout at me? So it's just, you are just kind of opening it up. You're sitting there, you're not solving the problem, but you are having the other person talk, and by talking and processing, the other person is actually solving the problem for themselves. And that's what we want as a good leader, that, we completely all the time, if we ask for information and the problem, we solve the problem, but otherwise we don't take the ownership of the problem. But we ask the right questions, and through that we actually help to resolve the problem. So that's the open-ended questions, and then we have the closed-ended questions. And closed-ended questions lead to a yes or a no answer. They focus on a discussion, they can evoke specific answers, but they can also close out essential information. So it's largely yes or no. Would you like to give the Bhagavatam? No. Are you feeling very anxious? Yes. So this is something like, did you hit Vishnu Das when he screamed at you? No. Or yes. And sometimes that leads to you just hit a roadblock there. Because then the devotee is not going to have a space to talk more, express their feelings, share their thoughts, and you actually close the conversation. Sometimes this may be necessary, as in when the emotions are running very high. You have had a lot of discussion on something and you need to actually close a matter. Asking open-ended questions, and just to know if you have a lot of devotees involved in an argument, and if you just want information, a closed-ended question could be good, as in it can just give you the information that it needs. But if you feel that the person needs to open up, and if they need to find an expression, then an open-ended question is always the best way to go. So this is largely about the open-ended and the closed-ended questions. And now, just to wrap it up, we are going to very quickly go through these tips to improve listening and to prevent time wasters. So when you improve your listening, when you are better prepared, when you have the trust of the devotees, when devotees can feel comfortable relating themselves to you, you actually prevent a lot of wastage of time, because you actually, we'll see the points here that you actually lay a foundation where you help the devotees to organize their minds, their hearts much better, and that actually leads to less time wastage in the future. So that's what we have. We'll just very quickly go through this because we have another leg of our presentation on social media. But you can utilize Ishtagoshti's website newsletters to share general information. Be available for personal interaction with the congregation on Sunday. So if you're a leader, you can be there to listen to them, manage by walking around to interact with people regularly. Yes, so when you are present in the premises, you meet more people, and that gives you an opportunity to interact with them. Establish clear lines of authority when they see you, your assistant or department head. So yeah, it also kind of makes it clear to people that who you are. And sometimes it also gives them an opportunity that even if you may be the temple president, the vice president, a project leader, or department head, they can actually come and they can speak to you. And it of course helps to, one is it helps to establish the authority, but at the same time, it also helps you to assert your authority and take that opportunity to actually listen to them. Schedule times for office hours and your availability. Don't be ambushed 24/7. This is a big one with devotees. We are, sometimes we are like working 24/7. You could be thinking that, I'm the temple president 24/7. I am the vice president 24/7. But it's important to have your little space. And just because you are also setting an example for the devotees that you don't have to be quote unquote working all the time, because how this waste time is that it actually reduces your efficiency, and over the time you will not be able to sustain the effort of actually managing people. Some of the other points are define the meeting, how much time do you need and what is the topic. So this is a big one, and I'm actually working with our with a team of devotees as to decide guidelines and define guidelines as to how to conduct a meeting, because if you know how to do it right, you can actually prevent so much wastage of time. So that's one thing. Halfway through a meeting, remind others if necessary how much time is left, so that you are aware, you don't waste time. Be focused, block out interruptions, phone calls, etc. Otherwise, it's rude. Especially in today's age, mobile is a big one, which not only prevents us from listening, but which also has led to us. I mean, before the pandemic, the attention span was something like 15 to 13 seconds, and now it's come to 4 seconds. So that's how bad it's getting for people to actually stay focused. When you meet, get out from your behind your desk and make it personal. So that's body language. And when necessary, schedule a follow-up session. It will keep others peaceful until next time. So if you feel that a situation is extremely tensed, give it all opportunity to be there to listen to that person and make them feel assured that you have heard everything that they had to say. And once you do that, it will stop them from getting more triggered by the situation, and it just help them to keep peaceful till you're working out a solution with your colleagues or with the management. And research and plan the agenda before meeting. We don't do this, but this is very important. And I'm part of some committees where we actually do this, and we see that it leads to such an effective meeting, that we are so very clear from the very beginning what we are going to discuss. And if we schedule a meeting for 1 hour, we actually finish the entire agenda in 1 hour, and considering all the questions and everything. So this is pretty much what it is in relation to listening. And I am sorry we don't have an interactive session this time too much, because we are short of time. But I do want to open up if anybody has any questions in relation to, you all are actually wonderful speakers and listeners, temple presidents and leaders yourself. So I think I could rather take some tips from you all. But in any case, in relation to presentation, if there is anything that I can help with, you have any questions, then we can just take 5 minutes to answer till we move on to our next presentation. So I think we're good. I think everybody's a good listener here. So I think we can move on. So the next presentation we have is on social media. But before we move forward, we'll just take a 5-minute break, because it will be difficult to take a break in between that session. So we'll just come back in 5 minutes, and we'll continue with the next presentation. Yeah, no question. So this is what we're going to talk about, social media and online outreach. And a lot of you are already very accomplished in this area. Many of the temples in India and across are doing a lot in this. And especially in the pandemic, we've just kind of, you know, understood the importance of social media and the online outreach. Though most of you know the guidelines here, I'm still going to just go through. Um, we will revise what we know and we just learn something if we don't. So we're going to talk about that as a leader. Should you care about social media and online outreach? And over the years, the outlook has changed much. But when I started my service some um, years, I mean, because I started my service 25 years back, but even something like 5 to 6 years back, there was not much emphasis. People were still focusing a lot more on the other audiences, but the social media has come to much prominence and our online outreach in the last 2 or 3 years, definitely during the pandemic, but much so during the last 5 years where the graph has drastically changed. And we are just going to see some guidelines which we can follow as leaders for our respective temples, or or even if you're part of the communications division, what is it that you can do better or improve in relation to communications. And if you think that you are finding it hard, if any of these questions, the answer is yes to any of these questions, that you find it hard to connect or bring new people, or do you want to effectively, regularly communicate your messages to your audience, as in your donors, your congregation, your members, your volunteers, or you want to connect to a large audience all at once, and how you can actually spread Krishna consciousness exponentially in one go. If your answer is yes to any one of this, then this is for you. This is what will answer your question, because this is all what online outreach and social media actually does and helps us to accomplish. And this is what social media is. This is the actual definition that I'm going to actually just read out here. That social media is a computer-mediated tool that allows people to create, share, or exchange information, ideas, and pictures or videos in virtual communities and networks. So this is of primary significance here, that this is a virtual space and it's a virtual community and a network where we are actually sharing, creating, and exchanging information. So this is something which all of us are familiar. We see this all around us all the time, and so much more now, because of the COVID. And this is, what we say is the present age. The post-COVID era is going to be much like this, where we actually, from our waking up alarm to our commute, to our food, to our travel, to our education, everything, our work, it's all on our mobile devices, and we communicate to people through our online outreach or through the social media. These are the latest analytics that we have in relation to what's happening in the digital space. The total population of the world is 7.8 billion, out of which 4.2 billion people are active social media users. So that's 53% of the population is active social media users, out of which 59.5, is almost 60% of the world uses internet today. And we have 66 people who are unique mobile phone users. So that's the outreach. I don't have the graph here, but if you actually see the graph, you will see that it's on a steady till January 2020, but in June, July, from March, June, July 2020, the graph just moves up and you can see the use increases, and that was actually the time of the pandemic. Where people started using the digital platform much more than they were doing earlier. And this is what people are doing on the internet. So as of April, this is the latest statistic which is available, 2021, is what are people doing on social media. And I'm just showing the slide here so that you actually know, if you are doing social media, you actually know what people are doing on social media. They are staying in touch with friends and family. That's highest, 50% of people are doing. A big 63% have nothing to do. They don't have a valid reason to be on social media, and they're just filling up their spare time. 36% are reading news stories, 31% are trying to find entertaining content, and then we just see a whole list down there what people are doing actually. So this also reflects the value and the culture of the society as to what's happening, and where this age group, basically 16 to 64, is the age group which has been used for this survey, and this is what they're doing on the internet right now. And while I even even before I even finish saying this sentence, this is what is happening in this 1 minute on the internet right now. 41 lakh people have liked a post, 3 lakh people have tweeted, 300 hours of YouTube content is getting uploaded right now. 17 lakh photos have been uploaded on Instagram, and so much more. So you can just imagine that this is the internet space which is so heavily active in today's times. And this is one of those latest graphs where you can see what's happening on the internet every minute. This is not even every hour, it's every minute. We see here that on an average of 55 to 80 times people use their phones. This is how many times they actually lift and put it on, they check their WhatsApp or whatever they do, their emails or something. On an average, a person spends 2 hours and 29 minutes on social media daily. So this is basically even more than our japa time. It's actually the double of our japa time when people actually spend on an average 2 hours on social media daily. 200 million people of online content is created every minute. So somebody could be, generating a post, something on YouTube, writing blogs, writing articles, and just uploading all this content on the online platform. And 63,000 Google searches are on across the world per second. So this is huge. And the next question we would want to ask as devotees is, what about ISKCON and Krishna? I mean, where are we in this space? I mean, with so much happening, I mean, do we even matter, a little insignificant something in this space? We're gonna come to that how we can actually be in this space by understanding a little bit about the top 5 social media platforms today, which could be the platforms through which we can actually connect to people who are basically our online audiences. And number 1 on this is Facebook. Facebook has been number 1 for the longest time that I have known. It's the world's number 1 social media platform with 2.7 billion people who are, so that comes up to actually around 80% of the population of the world is actually on Facebook. Those who use the internet, 80% of the people who use social media and internet are on Facebook. And it is largely used for building relationships and brand loyalty. So that's the purpose that Facebook is for, building relationships. And they have been heavily into advertising. So that's why they actually have brand loyalty. The content which is largely posted, and what Facebook is for, is actually text, photos, and videos. You can have feed posts. You can have stories. Stories are the most popular on Facebook. The stories actually started with Snapchat, and they were copied by Instagram, and then eventually, Facebook also got into the stories bandwagon. Ads. So ads are a big time with Facebook. I started, connecting and doing Facebook in 2014, and it was a very little ad space. But today, the number one social media platform in relation to ad space is Facebook and shopping. And here you can actually see the scale of their business is that Facebook has 180 million businesses on Facebook. So these many people have officially subscribed as a business on Facebook, and they are actually marketing their products or just doing all sorts of marketing on Facebook. So that's Facebook for you. The second media platform, the second one is YouTube, the number two social media platform, which is at 2.2 billion. And it usually consists of videos. That's what that's what YouTube is. It's basically a video platform. And the way you connect and the way you can actually make outstanding difference on YouTube is through tags, through description, through titles. And it also gives you, as a consumer, it gives you the facility to queue up your content. And what does it stand for? So YouTube mainly stands for giving you information about how to do something. So they would talk about, how to use your mobile phone, how to drive a cycle, how to swim. Education is one thing. A lot of teaching materials there, a lot of lifestyle, entertainment, fitness, diet, information and videos out there. And it's basically a platform which helps you to explore your creativity. So the more original your content, the more your content is going to actually drive on YouTube. So you explore your creativity, your talent, your messages, information, and yes, it also helps. It's also now got heavily into advertising. It's got into a paid and a non-paid option. They have a premium option and they have a regular option. So they definitely are, now getting a business oriented, and a lot of brands are now actually on YouTube advertising. So you can see that before, middle, and at the end of your YouTube video that we have a lot of brands there. The third is WhatsApp, which nobody needs any introduction to. Then after that, the fourth most popular is the Facebook Messenger, which is a chat platform primarily, where people chat, and it offers a lot of features. So it's one of the popular platforms. And then we have Instagram, which is at world number 5 social media platform at 1.2 billion. It's largely a picture and a video oriented content platform, and it's known for its very good quality content. And it has feed posts, it has stories, it has reels. And reels are the most popular format for Instagram, where they are just very short. They are just 30 seconds, a video of 30 seconds. And if you want to have anything more than 30 seconds, then you have IGTV, where you can have anything from 30 minutes to half an hour, 50 seconds. So that's Instagram, and Instagram is really popular with Generation Z, which is the young generation from the age group of 16 to 25, and the millennials. So these are the people who are on Instagram. And what people are doing on Instagram is they are largely following brands, celebrities, and businesses. So this is the niche of Instagram. They have a lot of brands talking about what they're doing, offering advice, tips, beautiful photographs. We have a lot of celebrities who are sharing photographs, especially sharing a lot of reels of what they're doing. And they have a very good chat platform. So that's how a lot of people actually use Instagram as a chat platform, and it helps to build relationships. So that's the number 5 platform. So we just went through the 5 important platforms. As a temple, it would be imperative that you are at least on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram as the three important platforms. WhatsApp has a WhatsApp for Business facility, but it's not so developed. You can't send a lot of bulk messages. They have a lot of protocols. So as temples, you are quite limited of what you can do on WhatsApp. But these three other platforms is the space where you want to be. And of course, yeah, I just want to also talk about Twitter, because though Twitter doesn't come in the first five, it's important because the official ISKCON communication handle uses Twitter more than Facebook or Instagram. At present, it's at 280 characters of text, and text which is linked with attachment. And it's really very popular with individuals. If you are an influencer, if you are a government official, if you're a celebrity, if you are a proper, a very important and a popular public figure, then Twitter is where you are. You're breaking up and breaking news on Twitter. It's a network of ideas, topics, news, and experts. So you have a lot of experts there who are talking and commenting on topics. And it is also a lot of government. You in fact find a lot of government-oriented information and also accounts of government officials on Twitter, where they actually break the news first on Twitter. So we see that a lot of celebrities, a lot of government officials, a lot of public relation companies, electronic media, they actually, this is the platform which they use. And that was, though it's not one of the 10, but ISKCON communication, post regularly on Twitter. So that's one of the platforms which they are using. But, and I added this, though it's not one of the top 5, and it's not literally a social media platform, but it's an online platform. And Zoom is just going to another level today. And you can see the figures here, which are just mind-boggling, that in January 2020, which was the pre-COVID era, they had 10 million daily meeting participants. And presently they have 300 million daily participants. So it's a huge, I don't know, it's like, whatever percentage of somebody who's good in maths here can actually do that. It's whatever percentage of increase in their daily participants on Zoom. We are one of the statistics here today because we are on Zoom right now and we participate on these figures here. Early in 2020, 79 billion daily meetings, minutes. So what they mean minutes is that they would count how many minutes somebody would spend on Zoom, and it was 79 billion daily meeting minutes. And presently it's 3.3 trillion daily meeting minutes and 45 billion annual webinar minutes. So you can see the scale of the rise of the online platform. It's everyone's on Zoom, from like the kindergarten child to the oldies. The action's happening on Zoom. And when I first saw these, I was making this presentation, I saw this because I just thought I had to include them because you can just see the online effect here from millions. It's run into trillions, and how much people are actually using this platform to connect and communicate. But it's we just now going to a website which is an online outreach platform which is largely used by all temples. I think everybody who is here, who is part of a project or a temple, would definitely be having a website. And it's very important because that is the bedrock of your online presence. If anybody wants to find you across the globe, this is what they're going to search for, is your website. It complements your social media, and you will especially find this largely in relation to Facebook and Instagram. and to some extent even on Twitter, that a lot of posts, they just write a little bit of a caption there and they just leave it there, and then it's like find the complete article on www.harikrishna.com. So that's how they drive the audiences between two different platforms, online platforms, and you have audiences on both the platforms. So this is one of the marketing strategies which a lot of companies follow, where you have a website which complements a social media platform. It's people like it because you can control the contents. You can actually decide what you want to put on your website. You can drive traffic between your website and your social media. So that's what just I was saying, that you can actually put the link of your website into your social media platform, and when somebody, you do a live on Facebook, and when you put the link of your social media platform, people understand you're present there and they just land on your social media page. You build a community and you share information. So definitely people you start becoming a brand on a respective platform when you regularly and consistently share information, and that's where you build your community. And I think a lot of devotees here are doing that. They have their own YouTube channel, they have their own Facebook groups, and they are actually building their community, sharing information, they're sharing their classes, sharing their talks, and eventually connecting with these audiences to actually preach. So another advantage of a website is that it can be updated easily because you have the control of the website. It's not like Facebook, which is a third-party platform. You can update it, and it's very easy to access information through somebody's website. So all you have to do is just type that name, even if you don't know the complete website. More about that particular brand, person, project, company, or whatever. And it's an extension, so social media extension of website branding. So your website, the colors, the way it is, the style, largely your social media platform also is similar and extends to that platform. So all your medias are actually an extension of each other in terms of their branding, because they actually reinforce the brand. So if, for example, ISKCON Pune decides to use blue and green as the color, and they have a particular photograph of Prabhupada as the main picture, and they have it on the website, they extend the same color on their Facebook page, on their Instagram page, on their Twitter page. So what they're doing is they're actually extending their website branding to their social media and vice versa. So that's the website for you. I just wanted to stop here for a second to ask if anybody has any questions, at least if it's clear till this part, if you have anything. And if not, we can move ahead. Is it okay? We'll move ahead. Social media platforms, but there are still a lot more out there which are very popular. We have LinkedIn, we have Reddit. LinkedIn is the best for business. You have Reddit, you have Reddit is for writing. You have Telegram, which is a chat platform. You have Tumblr, which is a blog platform. You have Pinterest, which is a photo platform. You have TikTok, which is a social platform. You have Quora, which is an educational platform. You have Medium, which is an article or a blog type platform. So the online space is huge, and you wherever you think you can fit and you can use a respective platform to communicate your messages to your audiences, is you will definitely find something where your message would be relevant and can actually be on those platforms. And it's not that these are not very popular. Actually, a lot of people use Medium. An exceptionally high number of people use LinkedIn and Telegram and Quora. the intellectuals usually. So they are not number in 1 to 5, but they are one of the popular social media platforms here. But this is what I really want, with my experience, I have understood that devotees feel that I have one post and I'm going to share it everywhere now. But it's not like that. You need to understand that one size does not fit all. What works for one social media platform will not work for others. And that was the reason why I also, when I just showed the 5 most important social media platforms, I actually said what they specialize for. Like Facebook is quite different from Instagram. You would hardly find a young boy or a girl on Facebook. They are largely on Instagram. So each of them actually has a very unique appeal to itself. And one should not think that, I just have one content and I post it everywhere and I'm done. That's really not the right way you start your social media strategy, because you need to understand the platform, you need to understand the audience, you need to understand what is your needs, and then work accordingly. And that's exactly what we are going to talk about, is that it's important for you to address your needs, your interest, and your concerns. So you need to understand what is my need, my interest, my concern, what is the need of that platform, what is their interest, and what is their concern. So if you are trying to post a video on Facebook, and if you're not getting a lot of likes, you really cannot blame Facebook, because Facebook is not largely a video platform. It does have the reels in its story, but in general, it's more of an image and a text platform. So if you do the same thing on YouTube, and you're going to get a different kind of result, because that is a video platform, and that's where people are searching for video content. So you are in the right place. So you are addressing your needs, interests, and concerns, and addressing the the audience's needs, interests, and concerns. And I cannot but stress enough the importance of this. Like initially when we were doing, like I was doing the Facebook page for the temple here at Juhu, and I was trying out different things, what would work. And so I was seeing that sometimes some pages were following that and it wasn't working, and they would tell me that, Mataji, we are doing exactly what you are doing, but why is it not working for us? And all I could tell them is that every one is unique, every content is unique, and it's not same. It's the same thing. Basically, one size doesn't fit all. You need to know that what is your content and where does your content fit right amongst all the different social media platforms that we saw. So one needs to be a little sensitive. And then one would actually ask the very next relevant question is that what platform should I choose? So this is the basis on which you should actually choose your social media platform. One is the audience. Who is your audience? Where is your audience? What is their needs, interests, and concerns that you're trying to address? What is the mutual interest? So you want to share a message. Do they want to hear it? So you just want to share and share and share, and they are not interested. You just are in the wrong place doing the right thing. So you want to definitely identify what is the mutual interest between you and the respective platform or the audiences of that platform. So that's important. And what is a message to the audience? So it's important to reinforce a positive message. And you can be using different platforms to reinforce the same message in a different way. So on Facebook, maybe you could have an image and text format. On YouTube, you can have the same thing in a verbal video format. On Twitter, you can just have it in a short text format. So you can reinforce one positive message to your audience in all the different platforms. And lastly is it should be a win-win for both. So definitely you don't want to be somewhere where you're not going to get the engagements, you're not going to get the audience that is relevant for you. So it's really important that it has to be a win-win situation for both you and your audiences when you decide that you want to choose a particular platform. And so any questions here? I actually can't see the script because I have my presentation, but if anybody has any questions at any point, please just feel free to just you can just I would not be able to see if your hand is up, but you can just unmute and just share the question. So if you don't have any questions, I'll just move ahead. Or maybe this is a little fast for you, but we are short of time. And I at least want to preliminary cover, the social media presentation. So you at least have an overview of what it's about. So we have the advantages of social media. Social media and being on the online platform helps you to find new perspectives on followers. This could happen on YouTube, Facebook. You can watch what they call, you can have your tribe of people, you can have your brand of people there, you can have the people of your liking, and you can keep your settings open. I think both of them are more so, the flexibility is much more in terms of settings and communication with Facebook than it is with Instagram, where you can actually connect with your audiences. Both the platforms don't allow you to fetch data of your respective followers, but at least you can connect to them, as in they can share a post, they can share a message, they can comment, and you can respond to that. Increase the communication with the outside world, and what better situation than the pandemic taught us this, that the online outreach was actually a gateway to increasing our communication with the outside world when we all were locked up where we were. So this helps to increase the communication with the outside world. It helps to remind people of Krishna, especially when we saw that slide of what happens in 1 minute. It's huge what's happening on the internet space, and any content that you share, there is somebody, there could be 10, 15, 100,000, 5,000, 10,000 people who are going to actually see that content, and you are doing your bit to actually help and remind them of Krishna in this whole other scheme of things, where there is millions of content out there online. And it also helps to improve the online influence. So when you have a post and somebody likes it, automatically a notification is displayed to their friends that so-and-so friend liked this page, liked this post, and it would interest the friends to find out more about that page and go there and try to see that what it's all about. So that's an advantage, that it helps to improve your online influence over the social media platform. And of course, you can share instant information. So one recent example for that was when we had our Prime Minister, actually, when he launched the coin for Srila Prabhupada, all the devotees across the world, it was happening in Delhi, but every devotee across the world could actually watch that on YouTube, on that live platform. So that's the advantage of being on the social media platform, that you can instantly share information through your platform. And invite them to the temple gatherings. So yes, if you've opened up for COVID and if you want to invite them, you can display the timings. If there is something special, you can write about it. You can put a poster, you can put a banner. Those are the other advantages. It improves the visibility of ISKCON. So when there is this huge visibility of so much content which is out there, anything that you post, helps, especially if you hashtag it as ISKCON or ISKCON Aurangabad, ISKCON Pune, ISKCON Mumbai. It definitely helps people who could be searching for some relevant content in relation to spirituality, in relation to divinity, in relation to self-help, in relation to religion, or just plain in relation to ISKCON. So it improves the visibility of ISKCON. You can get data, you can get some data. I think websites help you to get data. But Facebook and the other social media platforms have made it a little difficult now to get data, as in to get their phone numbers and get their emails. But it does have some settings which you can set up there, and through those settings, it allows you to still fetch the data and connect you to your audiences. Gives you real-time feedback, and this is so relevant. And I also want to stress to the devotees here that it's important to be careful in relation to this, because earlier, if somebody had any concern or any issues with the temple management, a devotee in a temple, or experience they've had inside the temple, they would probably try to find a devotee in the temple and tell them that I just didn't like this. It was so crowded. Somebody pushed me. I went to the free prasad counter, but I did not get any free prasad. There was nobody serving it. But now what happens is that the next thing is that somebody tweets about this on Twitter, somebody writes about this on Facebook, somebody shares a photograph about this on Instagram. And what happens is that one is you can get a good feedback, as in somebody could have a great experience and write about it. But if somebody has not had a good experience, that is also when you kind of get a real-time feedback from your audience. Respond to a crisis faster, yes, because as we said that you can share information fast. So when you want to connect, as in if you decide that my temple is under lockdown, I want to be deciding to open the temple tomorrow, because it's not a crisis situation, but if there is something which is critical, you can always put it on your social media pages, and the word could spread. So it's a fast way of communication. We respond to crisis fast. It's cost effective. You can reach a large number of people from a small, not for a small cost if you're doing it organically. But I would also want to say now that platforms like Facebook and Instagram especially have become very business oriented. I saw that Facebook has 180 million businesses, and it's getting its money from them. So it definitely gives preference to them. So the reach which a post had organically earlier is largely compromised today, because of this factor of everything is just about marketing. It's about business, but at the same time, it still remains a cost-effective platform for you to connect to your respective audiences. And it also helps you to stay updated with what other spiritual organizations are doing. So there are some spiritual organizations who are very active. Like we have the Sadhguru at one point, the BAPs were very active, Swaminarayans. So you can actually stay updated and know what is happening, and you can also strategize and re-strategize your strategy based on what the other social media platforms are doing. So these are largely the advantages of the social media. And then, of course, you have the other side of the coin, which is the disadvantages of the social media, which is distraction. And this is a big one, especially after COVID. A lot of people, I was actually speaking to two mental health doctors, counselors, and they were saying that the number of children and youth has phenomenally increased, the patients they are seeing. The problem is largely distraction. They are unable to focus. The attention spans are going at an all-time low, and the attention span today is actually 4 minutes. That's how much a person can actually concentrate on any information which is given to them. So distraction, relationship problems, because people are largely focused on their devices. And as we saw one of those photographs there, you have people connecting to other people on the phone, and you are not connecting to the people who are with you, which is another big time problem. There's a lot of problems happening in that space of relationship. Loss in real-time connect between newcomers and community devotees. So earlier, when we had our Sunday Feast programs, we had that opportunity to just the leisure of sitting with devotees, talking to them, and having a personal face-to-face connection, which is lost when you connect to your audiences through your online platform. And if for some reason they are not part of the same city, and they are part of another city, you cannot probably connect with them just except on the social media platform. So you're losing the real-time connect with the newcomers. Health issues. This is another big one that a lot of people are actually having problems with their wrist. They're having a problem with the thumb. There is a certain part of a bone and a muscle here in the thumb is where people are actually having problem, which extends to your spine. So people are having problem with their spines, they're having problems with their wrist and their hands, and with their backs from looking down due to the mobile phone. So that's, and the eyes, of course, the number of people who've got glasses is increased. So that's health issues. And it's an alternative to visiting temple. And I think over the last 1 year, so many people, of course, want to come for darshan, but there also is a shift where some people feel now that it's okay, I can be at home and I can listen to a class, I can be at home and I can attend a festival, because that's something that you've got used to over the time. So it's for some people it could actually become an alternative to visiting the temple because of the convenience and the comfort of connecting to the temple through the social media platform. It lacks the emotional connect, again, because there is no body language. You can't see the person. So more than 55 to 60% of the communication that you can have, you don't have a body language, you don't have eye contact with them. And it's difficult to sustain an emotional connect with your audience on an online digital platform. There is an information overload. A lot of people in the world today are feeling stress from this because they are getting so much information, far more than what they can handle, and people are actually breaking down mentally. That's one of the side effects of social media, and that's information overload. Then it is a potential to make or break your reputation. So what I said is that if you're doing something good, somebody could tweet about it. But if something is not right, and if you just have the prasadam and the Prabhu is so careful to serve the prasad, but just there's one plate which has a fly in it, and somebody can just there take a photograph, put it up on Twitter, and there you go. It just, people are talking about it, comment on it. So or somebody could be complaining about a bad experience they had there. So the potential can never be underestimated as to how somebody can use the social media to actually make or break you. The temple management may have a lesser control, again, because people largely talk about you on the social media platform, that they don't even come to the point of connecting or reaching to the respective temple management. So they are just connecting with the social media platform and whoever is driving the platform, but they never know the people out there. And the people out there also may not have temple management, may not be knowing what's happening at the ground level in relation to people who are connected to them. So there could be some loss of control there, lack of coordinated responses. I would just say that you can be getting all kind of different responses on different platforms. Sometimes it can be very overwhelming. People can be very nice and people can be very harsh. It's really difficult to know what the person genuinely is trying to share or say. because there are always these people who are just there to make comments. So that's another disadvantage. And it's a constantly and ever-changing medium. And this fact remains that um, especially big social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they are always giving new updates. And so many new features are added and subtracted on a constant basis that you always have to keep an eye on it, and also you have to change according to the medium. So it can become a little overwhelming at one point. And this is something we should all be so concerned about, is that it can distance you from your sadhana and seva, because it's so difficult to distance ourselves from our phone, and the lines become just more blurred with people posting everything that they do on the social media, that, I went for the Mangalarti, this is a Mangalarti darshan, and you're taking the darshan of the video and you're posting it on YouTube. And, today this was the feast prasad, and you have a photograph of the feast prasad and you upload it on Facebook. So it's just, you are so sucked into that, social media life. And besides that, the time that you could be actually spending on your reading, on your sadhana, or just maybe doing some more seva is actually unknowingly being spent on the social media. So these are some of the main advantages in relation to the social media. Any questions, anybody? Now let's just move forward. These are some of the do's and don'ts which we are going to talk about in relation to social media. It's very important to have your complete profile. You would be surprised that a lot of temples actually don't have a complete profile. And if you want your audience to connect with you, if you want them to visit you especially or call you, it's imperative that you have your profile information updated. Be regular in sharing content and interacting. This is because, not only the audience, but even the social media platform is recording and registering how often you're sharing content and how many people are interacting and engaging with you. So the more regularly you do that, the more the social media platform will actually support you, because you are actually creating content for that respective platform, and you're actually getting them more users, which is what they like. They want more people to come to their social media platform. So just be regular and be consistent. Understand your audience and create the content accordingly. So again, one size does not fit all. If you have a 25-minute YouTube video and if you post it on Instagram, you're posting the right content on the wrong platform. So that's important. Respond to connect. This is especially really important. If you are just budding, if you're a small size temple, or if your social media page is new, and if it is manageable for Jigu, I just find it impossible to respond because we get so many queries. But if you can manage to respond, that's a great way to keep in touch with people, to invite them to come, to after you develop that connect, to get their phone numbers. And even though the social media platform does not allow you the data, you can actually connect to the audience and preach to them and invite them to the temple and establish a connection. The next one here is listen and take action. This is when somebody is writing to you, somebody is complaining about you. It's important, or commenting on what you're saying. It's important to keep your ears and eyes open on the social media platform and promptly take action, because not only that person, but so many other people are actually watching that. And especially if it is a not so pleasant quote or a comment, a lot of people are actually going to be interested in that. These are some of the do's that you want to do. You want to build a team. It's always nice if you want to grow and expand that you have a team. grow with whatever you have. So a lot of times we think that, when I have a good camera, when I have a team, when everything is set up well, is when I will start to do it. But, you can just start right now, just with whatever you have. The resources will follow, the people will come. And even just doing a little bit will give you confidence, and will actually give you an idea how your audience is responding to what you're trying to do. And this is not just for new social media platform, but even a new feature in the same social media platform is something that you should try and just experiment how it works. Align your messages with the principles of ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada. This is so important. This is so important because there is so much, on the cyberspace. And, when people are searching, all sorts of messages are going to get pulled up. And we definitely, as responsible members of our organization, want to share messages which align with the principles and values of ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada, and maintain online and offline congruency. This is very, very important, because a lot of times in the enthusiasm to connect with people, and in an enthusiasm to show that we are doing so good, devotees just talk about, extravagant features, and just, they just say, this is great, come for this, and wonderful experience at the temple, and grand this, and grand feast. And then when somebody actually comes to the temple, they realize there's nobody to talk to me, or there is no feast here. Much of what they said is not even happening. So, I'm just giving a very raw example, but it's very important that we maintain that balance. And whenever we do this communication course, this is one of the favorites with Anutama Prabhu, where he always talks about this, because this is an area of integrity. And we want to be up there on the social media, but a lot of times we've had such experiences where we've had devotees and temples, overpromise and talk such grand things, and it just doesn't match up to what it actually is. So it's important to have that balance between the both. And these are some don'ts, some of the things that you don't want to do on social media. Not responding at all. So a lot of times when we get negative comments, there is a sense that it's just better to keep quiet and let it pass and let me not respond. But that's not the way to go. Please, just at least acknowledge the person that, we see that if somebody's written something nasty, okay, we see that you are upset, or if somebody's trying to, if somebody's doing that repeatedly, that's different. Maybe you need to block them. But if it's something genuine, go back and write to them, and even if you need to apologize, please do that, because besides that, it's giving out a big message to an audience who are on that same social media platform. Like your own post, I don't think you want to do that, and that's just not appropriate. Delete negative comments. This is another area, of controversy. A lot of people feel that it's best to just delete comments. Ideally, it's not a good idea. A social media platform is a public space which you have opened up. It's like connect with you, and they could be writing good things. They could also be writing something negative. Unless it's something extremely offensive, then yes, maybe you just want to hide that post, or you want to kind of just block the person. But at least don't delete the comment, because then that person will come back even stronger, writing to you on your respective platforms or other platforms, and it just doesn't reflect well on us, especially as spiritual organizations. So like a lot of celebrities, cricketers, they just get trolled, and you just either can choose to comment and clarify, but at least do not delete negative comments. Don't make any personal attack. Please remember that you are representing the organization, and this is not a personal take on someone. Even if they make a personal attack at you, just try to be graceful and give a gracious response. If it's not working on this, I mean, we've had this kind of issues. If it doesn't work on the social media platform, connect to them, call them, write to them, speak to them, but at least don't make it ugly on the social media platform. Don't lie or share wrong information, because for obvious reasons, it will boomerang back to you when somebody finds out that the information you gave them is not correct. Post and share too often, except for Twitter, where you can tweet 6 times in a day at least, and that's normal. On all the other social media platforms, anything like 2 or 3 posts is maximum that you want to do in one day. Otherwise, it's actually going to be counterproductive. And too much automation. When you do that, you actually bring and build a bridge between you and your audiences. So you want to also beware, especially in relation to websites where you automate everything and then you lose the opportunity to connect with your audiences. So anything anybody has in relation to what we just spoke till date, till now? Any questions? Okay. So I'll just very, very quickly run through this social media strategy. Many of you may not be doing it, but if your temple does consider doing a social media strategy, these are the basic steps which are part of a social media strategy program, which you can take for your respective temple or your respective project. One is that you want to understand the needs, interests, and concerns. What is the goal and objective of that particular strategy? You are going to do it on which platform? You want to identify your platform. You want to set the timelines. You want to make a list of the action that you are going to take and have SMART goals. So for example, you want to increase the number of people who sign up for your newsletter to 50 in 1 week. Then you want to increase the awareness about the program. So these are some things that you want to do. And the first thing is to understand the needs, interests, concerns, the goals, and the objectives of what you're trying to do in relation to your strategy. The second is to understand your present and your target audience. Who is it that you are interacting with and who you want to interact with? And try to get that information, because if you target the wrong audience, it would not, if you're trying to get somebody for a program, and if you're trying to target an audience which ends up being non-vegetarian, you're doing the right thing but with the wrong audience. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. ISKCON brand awareness. Identify what ISKCON temples and projects are doing and align your brand. That always helps. Because the social media platform also identifies when you do something that this organization is part of the same other organization on this group, and it promotes you better when you actually align your brand with your primary brand or the other temple. Like if you are using common hashtags or things like that, so it helps to create this common brand awareness. And your content is the most important, that you want your content to be relevant and original. So this is what will drive your content. When your content will be original and relevant on any platform, on Facebook, Instagram, or on YouTube, even if it's not of the highest quality in terms of production, but if it's relevant and original, the social media platform would actually be happy to have you there, and they'll start driving your content because you're offering something new to the audiences in terms of originality. Also, you want to keep in mind the design, the color, the hashtags which you are using, because you want to create the proper brand awareness. in relation to your content. If it's a one post, it's okay, but over the time, if you're going to post a lot of things, it's important that everything seems like it's connected to the same brand. So the audience can actually identify with you and with your brand. The next is metrics. Metrics is analytics, where you can actually see how many likes, shares, engagements your post has got. This is very important for devotees who are doing media strategy. This is how I worked. A lot of times devotees tell me, put up this banner, put up this video, put this up, put that up. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, because I know the metrics that, how it works. If I put a right content on the wrong platform, in the wrong way, it's not going to get me what I want. In fact, people will get irritated and they will start unliking me. So it's very important to keep a close look at your metrics. That is how many people are liking, sharing, and engaging with your content, and which of your content is actually the top performer. So then you can understand that, this content gave me a lot of engagements, and this is the kind of content that I should actually create. So that's the role which the metrics play. And we assess and realign our strategy. So that is based on everything that over the time, we collect information, we do our content, we get our metrics together, and then we can find out what is working, what is not working, is our purpose served. And if over the time we run the campaign for the next 2 or 3 weeks and it gives you good results, this is working and you can allow it to go for some time. But if you think it's not performing, then you can improve. So always you should be ready to assess and realign your strategy, especially on social media, because social media moves very fast. It's a very competitive space. And if your competitors are doing better than you, it's a space where you can lose your audiences also, or you can lose your relevance of being on that respective social media platform. So this is in terms of strategy. I just quickly want to take you through the 10 important steps, not 10 less, in digital marketing strategy. A lot of temples want to do digital marketing. And what we spoke about earlier was just a simple social media strategy that did not involve any payment aspect. It was just organic, that you would just post the content, post the information, and you would get likes, engagements. What we are doing here is, this is paid. This is, we are marketing our content. And I'm just going to I'm not going to spend much time on this, but because it's a very niche area, you actually need an expert to do this part for you, who understands this and who can follow up on this. But just for information's sake, I'll just quickly run you through this. For digital marketing, the first most important thing what you need is a website. That's the primary thing where the campaign actually happens. The next thing is the content. You decide what do you want to put there, what is it that you actually want to market, and bring all your content, banners, write-ups, scripts, and everything together. The third is the landing page. So you are going to share the link of this particular campaign on your social media pages, and people will click on the link and land somewhere on the website. So that is the landing page. And you want to make sure that you have a good, updated, good-looking landing page. Email and CRM. CRM is customer relationship management. So you may want to connect an email or a CRM aspect. This is also a very, it's again a niche area. It's an expert area. You need an expert to help you to do this. And you really need an expert to accomplish results. Because the opening rates of email is nothing more than 12 to 14%. So you need the right guys to help you to do this. Otherwise, you wouldn't even reach that 12 to 14%. So that's the next step, that you send out emails about your campaign. You put up the link on the social media platform, you blog. If you are a blogger and you write, you can blog about it, you can make a post about it, you can share the link there, you can explain what the whole campaign is about. And paid ads, this is an unfortunate space, which is a reality in today's times, that social media giants like Facebook and Instagram, after some time, they do not drive content, because they are now business houses. And I just mentioned that they have 180 million businesses connected to them. And when they are getting the income that they are from all these different business houses, they definitely would give preference to that content over the content which is organic. So if somebody wants to bring specific attention to specific content, in today's time, organic posts actually don't work unless you have a huge following. What really works is you have to do paid ads, identifying your audience, and then just choosing different parameters and selecting what you need to do. And of course, lastly but not the least, is follow the analytics. So then you'll have to see how your campaign is doing, how it has worked. Did it achieve the target audience? Did you get your cost back? What happened? What was the email response? And based on that, you can again go back and re-strategize and you have a digital marketing platform. So this is just a quick overview that I had here. These things can change anytime, and they can change anytime because you are actually on a third-party platform. When you are on Facebook, when you are on Instagram, when you are on YouTube, you have no control over what will happen to your content once you just share it out there. You are completely at the mercy of the respective social media provider. If your content will be seen or not, because it is the algorithms which decide. So somebody could be having 20,000 friends, and Facebook is not going to show posts from all the out of 20. Suppose even if 10,000 people write a post, you are not going to see posts from 10,000 people into your timeline. That's too much for the Facebook server to handle. It's too much for you to handle. So Facebook will condense it for you and just show you probably 500 to 600 things in your timeline, which it thinks is relevant. And the relevance that it chooses upon is that Facebook has revealed that the first preference it gives is to relatives. So if I'm making a post, and if I have something, and if I have my mom, I put a picture of my mom, then that would show on my timeline more than I would share something else. So the first preference is to your immediate family, then it's your immediate friends, then it's your colleagues. And after that, it gives a preference to pages. And most of our temples are actually pages. So the preference which we get in terms of organic reach is actually the last as per the Facebook algorithm. And this is actually the time when a lot of people actually think the need that I want to do paid publicity because I'm not going to get the reach which I want. And that's completely a personal choice, that you want to stay organic and you want to continue that way, or you want to have paid ads, and then you want to connect and get people to like your post. So there are a lot of different things you can do through paid. You can get people to like the post, and you can get people to buy your stuff, go to a particular page, and a lot of different things. So when I mean this can change anytime, what I mean is that the social media platforms and their algorithms, their network systems can change at any time, and nothing really is under your control. Your people are not under your control in one sense, unless you had a one-to-one connect with them. But they can be changing. Different people can be seeing different posts at different times, and everybody may not even see anything all the time. And we actually had that concern. I mean, though we have around 5 to 6 million on the Jew Facebook page, I just realized that a lot of all this was getting compromised because of the Facebook algorithm. And we started to change things for ourselves. And these are some of the reasons why things can change. Limited access to your audience due to social media moves very fast. So besides the algorithm, one of the things is that, yes, the changes and the updates are so fast that unless you're doing this as a full-time job, you may not even be able to catch up with all the shifts and changes that are happening to move fast and to make yourself relevant. Constant demographic changes. This is also the same thing, that you may not show up in the right place at the right time with the relevant content. So that's always changing. Unreasonable systems, theorems of social media platforms. So that's what I just spoke about. The algorithms keep changing all the time. And everyone, including big corporate giants, complain about it. And that's why what they have is they have an account with the respective companies, like with Facebook and Instagram. They just have an account with them, and every month they just pay them 20-30 lakhs, and they just come up with some post in relation to that, and that always gets prominence, and you will never miss any post in relation to them. So that's called the paid post that you're watching. New networks emerge, which is you can have different social media coming up. So then there, all the content gets divided on different platforms. You don't get a lot of reach on one particular platform. Paid post is another big problem if anybody's trying to get organic reach. And the unpredictable behavior and features of social networks. So they come up with new features because there is a heavy competition amongst themselves, and they always have to keep evolving. And because of this, you just get, you get used to the Reels part of Instagram, and you have now started making Reels. And just probably in 1 week, you'll realize that Instagram has stopped Reels and now they started something else. And you have to re-strategize because of the unpredictable behavior of the features on the platform. This is what we call a faith funnel. And a lot of you must be familiar with this. Where we stand is here. We are here in the space of awareness. When you are in the area of social media, you are actually just creating awareness about ISKCON, about its culture, its values, its devotees, its activities, events. And then eventually you come down to where somebody would consider convert and all that. So what we spoke about the other day also, when I last spoke last week, is that we are creating a Sankirtan friendly world. We are tilling the soil. We are actually softening the ground so that actually the devotees can come and they can sow the seeds. So somebody could have seen a darshan of your temple or your deity on Facebook, or maybe just different events. And then when somebody comes to the temple and somebody offers them a Bhagavad Gita, somebody will be more inclined to want to buy because they have some brand connection. They say, oh, I've seen the post from ISKCON Pune and they have beautiful darshan, they have beautiful deities. I know this is really nice, and I came to the temple and oh wow, they're offering me a book, and let me try and let me take a book. So this is the space where we are in the area of awareness. Yeah, this is just a Krishna app. So I just kind of just developed this Krishna app because of all the changes happening in the Facebook. We didn't have access to the data. And that's when we decided to launch the Krishna app, because we will have all the users in one place. This was inaugurated by Hema Malini. And I'm not going to get into the detail here, but this is all what Krishna app has. It's a global preaching. We have people in Pakistan, Korea, Germany using it. It has daily darshans. It right now at present, it's not 11, but it's actually 28,000 people are daily users of the app. People spend on an average 5 minutes on the app, which is pretty high. It has a 4.8 rating now on the Google Play. It has more than 7,000. This is an old slide, I'm sorry, but now we have 7,000 5-star ratings on the Play Store, and we have more than 200,000 installs. And these are some of the reviews of people. So now what we've done is we've got people on the Krishna app platform, and now we have all the data, because when somebody comes to the app, we collect their username, we collect their emails, and that actually becomes our data. So we eventually fetch a lot more data from people now than we were actually doing on Facebook and Instagram. So this is a very quick slide. We're coming to the close, but this is a very quick slide about how temples are using technology in relation to database of thousands of devotees, volunteers, and visitors. We have Mayapur, Bhaktivedanta Manor, New Vrindavan, the Bhishma department, and Jihu and Chopati, who are leading into the data management system. In relation to the website outreach, we have ISKCON Dwarka, Jihu, Bhaktivedanta Manor, Bhakti Center, and Punjabi Park, who are leading. In relation to Facebook, we have Jihu, which is leading, followed by Delhi at 2 million, Manor at 300,000, and ISKCON, just ISKCON as an institution at 37,000. YouTube, we have Vrindavan, which is leading, followed by Delhi, and followed, actually, you would be surprised that there is no official ISKCON channel of ISKCON on YouTube. I mean, I was actually shocked when I saw this as a communication devotee. Then we have Instagram, where Jew is again leading. We have Vrindavan at 55,000, Chopati at 39,000, and ISKCON is at 70. And of course, we have Maharaj here. Now we have Gopal Krishna Maharaj and Shivram Maharaj. So you have individuals also who are trending on Instagram. And then you have Twitter, where, okay, so here we have ISKCON is at 20,000. We have Soho London at 16, Chopati, followed by Pune. And then we have Krishna app, which has 200,000 downloads. So this is how temples are using technology. We have, of course, I have to say this is the best that I could research and find out, but I'm sure that temples are doing much more. If you know of any temple doing anything more than this, please, we would be happy to have that information and include it into our presentation, so that the next GBC college members can actually view it. There is a little more in relation to fake news, but I think we don't have the time, so I would not go, and I will just conclude here at this part. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. And yeah, if anybody has any information and any questions, then we can just take that, or so yeah, I think I don't see any hands here, so I think we're good to go. I don't think we have any questions. We have experts here, I guess, but we are very familiar with Facebook and social media, and I think likely so, because of COVID, everybody has to move to this platform and get more informed. So thank you very much for that, for just staying on, and it was wonderful to just connect with you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, ma'am.
I just hope it was helpful for devotees. Do you think it was relevant, or did it give some insight? I mean, if somebody can just put up their hand or share, or I think that would be nice to know when we are making presentations. Anutama or myself next time, that was it relevant, or you think there's something which was missing from that which would help us to improve it better for the next batch. Okay, I think everybody thinks it's okay, so we'll keep it that way. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Wow.